Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Talk of the Town, a podcast dedicated to everything Kevin Hill does on a match day apart from manager side. I'm only joking. He occasionally does manager side. We media team, we haven't done one of these in a while. We apologise. We'll explain why in a minute. But you're right, Nath?
Yeah, I'm good. Slightly under the weather. Unfortunately, I think we both are, and not sounding like that. Luckily, the whole time. But yeah, but we're doing well. Still second place, I think, and yeah, doing quite well. How are you?
I'm all right. That's a good podcast and voice. That you should maybe try and keep it. Have you seen the episode of Friends where Phoebe gets like I can't remember what she calls it, but she calls it like something phlegm, and she becomes like a soul blues singer.
No, no, I haven't. No.
Anyway, we're like literally what 20 seconds in, and I've already gone on a random tangent. I am fine, thank you. We hope you all had a lovely Christmas and New Year. Um, Football was back. We didn't really go anywhere. We did have New Year's off because we already played Yate. As you can imagine, the last time we did one of these was before the Plymouth Argyle game, which seems like a lifetime ago. Due to games being called off, me and Nath having other commitments and Christmas, we've obviously left this a little bit, so we apologise. But it doesn't mean we have a lot to talk about this evening. We've got many games to talk about. We've got all the news. We have an interview with an ETFC legend in Len that Nathan did on Saturday, which I think could be amazing.
Yes, very good.
Very good. All interviews conducted by Nathan are very good. Len was one of the easier people to interview, unlike some of the divas we have at the club. We haven't got any divas at the club. That's everything. So we're going to start with the news as always. There's not a lot of news. There's no events at the minute because we're in January. Once they start kind of creeping in and they're booked in and stuff, we'll let you guys know, put them on socials. With regards to the squad, Nelson is potentially out basically for the rest of the season. There was a collection for him at the Bideford game, which raised £310. Muggins here got it wrong on the socials, so I had to change it. It was £310. Thank you to everybody that donated to that. All that money's going to Nelson. Speedy recovery, Nelson. Hopefully you see you back on the pitch soon. It's unfortunate. It's part of football, but no, don't be a stranger. If you're at games, come say hi. You're still one of us. And Brighton news, Jack was at the Manor Farm game. He's doing really well. He hopes to be back before the end of the season. As we can all imagine, there's no pressure on him from Hilly, Dave, or anybody really to come back and play full 90 or do whatever. So Jack's doing really well. Didn't actually recognise him because he wasn't on crutches and he wasn't wearing a kit. But it was lovely to see him, and he came around and I think he chatted to loads of the supporters as well. So hopefully we'll see Jack back on the pitch soon. Some guy called Ben Steer, don't know what that is, has rejoined from Tavistock, proving that I am a trendsetter and Ben's just copying me.
There you go. There you go.
Yep. Decibels on match days have gone up. Yellow card count is going up for dissent. All things that weirdly dipped when he left. I don't know why. Ben, by the way, we're just going to keep rinsing you forevermore now. Just nothing's changed. Ace made his 400th appearance.
Yes.
The club. Was that Bideford?
It might have been. Yeah, I can't. No, I feel like it was before that. I don't know. Boxing Day. It was Helston, I think.
So he's now on.
Yeah, it was Helston because it's when he scored the goal. It was So that was his 400th, and I don't know if he even played against, but I can't remember. But he's on track to very soon break the all-time record, at least the recorded number of appearances. He's very close to breaking that. So that hopefully for him it will be probably even before the end of the season, to be honest, because I mean he's playing pretty regularly. So yeah, he's on track to really cement his name that's already there in sort of Exmouth Town folklore for forever come.
he was very happy to get 400 appearances, and even more happy, I suspect, to get 2 crates of cider. But yeah, when Ace does reach the milestone, we can guarantee one thing, that he will come up with an absolute quote that we will have to put out
Yeah.
um, privately to supporters, because it probably won't be broadcastable or appropriate. Kevin Hill also reached the milestone of 250 games in charge of the club, and he marked that anniversary by being a linesman.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that was a hell of a moment, hell of a moment there at Manor Farm, and he did a good job as well. Did very well. Kept it simple, only offsides and throw-ins and that, and you could see his dismay when I think it was Nelson got fouled and they ended up getting the free kick and scoring. But he was always done a really good job and stepped up and made sure the game happened. You know, we'd have been quite annoyed if we had to go home from Manor Farm, and it got us in the non-league paper, got
yeah.
us a bit of coverage as well. So really good afternoon. Shame about the result, of course, but there was the typical way it sums up Kev, what he does for the club. But then a week later, he took to the pitch in the time of need. So I mean, unbelievable. I wasn't at that game, but Egg, you can tell us what happened.
It was, watching him walk out as the match official was one of the funnier moments at the club. Even funnier was when he did flag Tom Bath that was a mile offside, and even Tom admitted he was offside. For the reaction from our supporters to behind the goal of "you don't know what you're doing" was the highlight of the afternoon. And watching him come on as sub and being the only player to not celebrate with Tom, because I think at that point he potentially was having to take quite deep breaths. Um, don't worry, Hilly, you're probably fitter than me. But it's all good. No, congratulations to Kevin. And I assume probably we speak for behalf of everybody at the club. Thank you for everything you do for this football club, and continue to do for this football club. He was there yesterday. He's a bit under the weather at the minute. He was pumping balls up, and he wasn't allowed in the dressing rooms. Um, at one point, a medical official at the club did ask him if he could go away and die quietly, because he was coughing on the sideline and putting them off. It wasn't Safi, is all I'm going to say. I think that's all the news. I don't think there's anything else. I know Josh Can is obviously injured at the minute. Should hopefully be back soon. If we get some news, we'll put that out there. Ethan is back. I think that's everything. I don't think there's anything else. There's no other
Yeah,
news that we know of at this moment in time during the recording.
potentially some good news though
There
coming.
may be
Maybe.
news in the future. All I'm going to say is that there could be news. Yeah. Moving on. Anyway, so since we last did, there's also away travel, but we'll get to that when we get to the games we've got coming
Yeah.
up. There is away travel coming up for 2 games, Willand and Mousehole. We should get to that. We have played since we last did one of these podcasts, and I'm going to take a very deep breath and probably pass out. We have played Plymouth Argyle and lost 4-2 at home. Since then, they have sacked some guy called Wayne Rooney. Don't know who that is. They're now bottom of the championship. Don't know what that is either as a Bolton Wanderers supporter. We've gone to Westbury and won 1-0 in a fantastic performance. We've apparently lost to Willand. I don't believe we lost to Willand. I think we can put that down as a 1-1 draw. People can argue with me as much as they want. We then lost to Bristol Manor Farm away. We beat Bishop's Cleeve away 1-0. Got a 0-0 draw against Evesham at home. Beat Helston on Boxing Day 2-1. Lost to Bideford at home, drew with Melksham yesterday, and we've had 2 games called off in Bemerton and Cinderford. I don't think I've missed anything else off there, have I?
No, I don't think so. No, that's been an interesting run of games, and some some really good performances in there. Unfortunately, probably some disappointing ones if we're being honest. Sort of the Willing game and the Bideford game probably stand out a little bit on that front, but some really decent performances as well in terms of the Bishop's Cleeve game, getting that late winner, the Helston game where we were generally quite good, and I mean our away form has been incredible. We would be top of the league if it was just away form. So there are a couple concerns regarding the home form, but there was a good draw with Evesham, who are a decent side. The Melksham draw you probably take before the game, obviously with what happened in the game with their assistant going in goal. You sort of think, oh, maybe we could have done a bit better, but you do take the point before. So it's one of those ones. The Willing game was just one of those days or nights, and then the Bideford game was again just a frustrating one where, to be fair, if decisions go your way, as was the case last Saturday, to be fair, with what happened. So I think it was Denny that got taken out by their goalkeeper. I mean, the Bideford game, we've seen them back. There's a penalty in there, and the keeper punches the ball about 25 yards out from his own box. So tricky one, but again, you've got to take a chance when you get them. So it's been a real mix of form, but we still find ourselves in a really fantastic position. Which again, to even be talking about playoffs, we'd have taken 10th at the start. So I mean, we're taking 14th to be fair at the start of the season, but then expectations change. It's like, oh, maybe top half this year, and now all of a sudden it's playoffs now. So a wonderful show that the perspective has had to shift because we've just been so good.
Yeah, there's been some good games. There's been some blips. I think we're not a finished article, and I'm sure Dave and Hilly would agree with that. There are going to be mistakes. There are some young lads in this team. There are lads who are playing at this level for the first time, and this is obviously we've got to be appreciative that this is football. You lose games. Westbury, I thought, was one of the best performances I've seen us in a long time. We got the goal, and then Frankie pulled off some phenomenal saves. Lads were throwing themselves at the ball to stop it from going over the line. It was a really traditional, what I would call a traditional Exmouth Town match where it was backs to the wall and they went out swinging. Willand, a bit like the moon landing, I'm going to say it was faked and that goal never happened. Staged, didn't happen. We got a point there as far as I'm concerned, and no one can tell me anything different. Manor Farm, if we could go to Bristol Manor Farm next season, unless we're promoted, if we find ourselves in this division next season, could we go to Bristol Manor Farm and could we please lose before the 90th minute?
Yeah.
It's all I ask because I don't think I can keep taking this heartbreak of going to Bristol Manor Farm and losing. No, on a serious note though, Evesham and the game against Melksham yesterday, great performances as well. Really happy, I think, personally as a supporter to get a point in both those. So I think on the whole, it's been a bit of a sticky patch, but also like not. Would you agree with that?
It's a weird one because it's been a bit sticky. Like as you say, that there's games in there we probably should have won. There's games in there that we should have played a bit better. Maybe try get a draw or whatever. But we've managed a pretty rough patch well, and in terms of especially availability, it's only the last few games where we've ended up having a pretty full bench. And so obviously we had to have Kevin come on against Bishop's Cleeve. We won that game. And that was that shows that at least we know the dogged, the resilience that the lads have really done this year. There's been a big standout and a big switch from last year. That just desire to stay in the game and keep ahead or keep level. Even it saw that in parts yesterday as well. And that shows really that the spirit is still there. Sometimes if the quality is lacking a little bit, which goes in. We are a Southern League Div 1 South side. It's not always going to be, the most exciting stuff we're going to see every week. But yeah, generally we've managed what is a tough set of fixtures pretty well, and we go into some games that, especially with the home form not being great, we have two good opportunities now to get back. We can't just take it as if these teams are lower than us, we're going to nab it. But Tavistock and Cinderford coming up, those are winnable games that. Obviously the Tavistock game, everyone's going to be extra motivated. And then the Cinderford game, it's a tricky one for them coming here on a Wednesday. But again, we have to be up for it. They're not going to want to waste their evening. So it's another games. We're going to have to be at our best, but they are winnable games. And that can really just set that tone again for 2025 and say, look, we're not messing about here. We're going to stay in the playoffs. And hopefully that way we can sort of just start getting those wins back and getting that free flowing attacking back a little bit, because that's probably been the thing that's been missing recently, if I'm being honest. The resilience is still there, the fight's still there, but just needing to get that little bit of quality back that's been there in little peaks in that, but just over a general term. Maybe the conditions haven't helped with that, to be fair, because it was, I mean, Saturday was absolutely Baltic, so that probably hasn't helped, to be fair, with that. So again, rough with the weather, because I mean the Helston pitch, the fact we got our pitch for the evening game was fair play for even getting it on in that horrible weather. Same with Melksham, but it's it's one of those ones where especially the Evesham and the Helston game, you could see both sides were really going for it, but neither of the teams had quite that quality to really stamp on it. And I think the weather played a part in those games and played a part yesterday as well, because I mean, there was 250 people there. I don't think anyone particularly, it was a miserable sort of day to watch football. But it is what it is, and look, we're in an amazing position, so we can't look too far away from that, and that's the key thing. The key word is probably perspective at the moment, and just this ride has been incredible. For 2 years in a row, we were just about stayed up, and now we're not really looking at the bottom half of the table in any sense, apart from who we're going to play next. That's the only time we're looking there. So that goes to show what a job has been done by the players and the staff.
And I think it's very telling as well. Two things that you hear the players constructively criticizing each other on the pitch, because they have. It feels like they have set standards that if their teammate isn't reaching them, that they will say that wasn't good enough, and they will up their game. And they do it in the warm ups when we're out and about filming, and you can hear them chatting as well as they're coming off, saying this stuff, that stuff. Which is some people might think that's a negative, but that probably shows the togetherness of the squad.
Wasn't at the match, yeah.
Yeah, when we've been around them. And Dave and Hilly have both mentioned as well a lot of the times in post-match interviews, teams raising their levels and standards because they're coming to Exmouth Town and we're second in the league, which I never thought for the life of me I would have heard someone say about us in this at this level ever. So we should take that as flattery and as a chip on our shoulder, and and understand that although we are second at the minute, we may not finish second. I hope to God we do, because all the players deserve it and everybody at the club deserves it. But if we don't, there's next season we go again. So I think that we're picking at feathers. I think that
and it different proposition as well for nowadays for Exmouth in terms of teams are coming here to draw, and that is different. That wasn't a thing last season. Teams were coming to win. Our best performance was against Yate, a team that were coming to win. So I think generally Exmouth, we play better when it's that back, as you said, the Westbury game, backs against the wall. We got to really fight for everything. When now the initiative is on us, that's a new question being asked at this level that we've not really been asked yet, and we've answered it on. Sometimes we've not been able to answer that. And that's the next challenge now in terms of establishing ourselves as a top Southern East side. That again, it will come with time, it will come with experience, it will come with the lessons that we are learning now of, right, this is what we've got to do, this is how we break this down. Because again, Tavi and Cinderford, not to, and any team really, we saw it with Cribs, and when we beat them, it was that same, they came to draw, and that's no offense to, that they're a team that they could really do with a point. And they came to draw, and we took a while, but we eventually broke them down. When Tavi had the man sent off away from home, they were settling for the draw. It's a different question being asked now of the players, which is something they probably didn't expect. So it's that adjustment as well, mentality-wise, to which I'm sure, as I say, through the lessons they're properly learning, and we will see. Hope, I'm pretty sure actually we'll see, a much better, even better team going forward into 2025.
Which is a really good segue, I suppose, onto a man that is a born winner in Len, club legend. You sat down with Len and interviewed him yesterday. I was off doing other pre-match things. I heard snippets of it, so I suppose what's the way I'm going to try and say this? Everybody knows Len. But Len has a lot of stories. So what did you take from your conversation with Len?
Len's great, and he's always been since I got here. I remember I was on the coach and I was sat next to Len, but obviously I didn't know a thing about him. And then Kevin told me, you're sat next to an Exmouth Town legend. You don't realise, but you are. And I was like, oh, okay. But Len's someone that he's not shy to tell you what he did in his career. And I remember Manor Farm, his name was in the programme, and he I think he showed everyone. But he's a great asset he's a great person for the club, especially in that role working with the away fans. I can't remember the title he has, but it's a role that suits him, because he's such an important part to the away games and for the home games for the away supporters as well. And obviously a hell of a player that anyone that was at Exmouth at that time, or even at Tiverton around the time he was there, will know who he is and be able to recognise him, because he was on such a level when he was a player. And so I learned a fair bit about his career, and also what he does for the club now. And so it's and also what he thought about the game against Bolton last season as well. But it was really good, and Len's a great, easy person to interview, which is the best. So then, obviously, you've had a storied career at Exmouth and been through so much at the club. Let's just start with, how did you end up at Exmouth Town?
Yeah, well, I first started with the club in the early 1980s. I was looking to start with the under-16 youth team, but the first game that we were due to play, the manager never picked me up, so I didn't actually end up playing for the youth team that season. It was a sorry state of affairs. I ended up playing for East Budley youth team, but I was living in Lympston at the time, and the next couple of seasons I ended up playing for Lympston. It wasn't a bit season. I managed to break and dislocate my shoulder the first season. But it was Mike Skinner, who the groundsman down here, who I had the privilege of playing with at school. He was a tremendous he's the best non-league player I've ever played with. Technically brilliant. We had the likes of Nicky Marker playing for us in that school team. We won a Premiership medal with Blackburn Rovers, and Frank Cowley got a professional contract at Exeter. So we were very, very lucky with the team that we had. But yeah, so I came down. I remember coming down and watched the first team win their first Western League Premiership title, thinking it'd be great to play down here. Mike rang me, come down, see what you think. Came down, played a couple of games for the reserves, scored a hat-trick in the second game against a former professional, and got the phone call the week after to go and play with the first team. So for me, that was a real bolt out of the blue. I didn't expect to progress as quickly as that. So I played my first game against Weston-super-Mare away, came on as a sub. Unfortunately, we lost. But that was the start of things to come. So that season, I played probably about 18 games, got involved with that great run in the FA Vase, a couple of appearances there. But yeah, that's how it first started for me down at Exmouth. So.
And what was the club like? So obviously, we see now it's modernised a little bit more stands and stuff. But what was the ground like, and the club generally like?
I mean, it's the Mel Pym stand over there. That was here. But there wasn't really, these stands weren't here, my stands weren't here, and that stand over there wasn't there. The wall was here, but yeah, it's a lot different now. The clubhouse hasn't changed that much, so that seems to have stayed as it was. But they've obviously done a great job refurbishing the clubhouse. So. But apart from the stands, there's not really that much changed here. The floodlights are still the same. I mean, we're going back like 40 years now. But yeah, to be honest with you, as far as the ground's concerned, there's a fair bit of work done on the ground, and we obviously needed a new stands. But apart from the stands, really, not much has changed, to be honest with you.
Pretty similar, but in your time at Exmouth, do you have any games that stick out for you as like?
For me, we played an FA Cup match at Newbury, and I was on the bench, and one of our centre forwards got injured. Paul Gidley, he came off the bad knee injury, and the current manager then, Bob Davis, said, "Don't bother going on. Just warm up at half time and you come straight on in the second half." So I came on up at Woodbury, come on the pitch to the sound of all our home supporters singing my song. When he gets that ball, everyone knows the rest of that song. And kicked off 8 minutes in the second half, scored my first goal for Exmouth. Equalised. We went from 1-0 down to 1-0, 2-1 up, 3-1 up, and then the last minute, the ball, I was defending the corner, took the ball from our own half, ran 60 yards with it and chipped the goalkeeper from 40 yards, and Adam Fitzgerald, who has been the vice chairman of the club, came running on the pitch with a David Pleat jacket on, sheepskin jacket that he was wearing, and was formally reprimanded from the current chairman at the time, Rod Webber, for entering the field to play when he wasn't really supposed to. But that goal against that's probably the best goal I've ever scored, and to do it coming off the bench and in front of a lot of the lads who I went to school with, for me it was an emotional moment for me, to be honest with you.
And obviously, you would have played with plenty of players. Was there any strike partnersps that stand out?
Oh, there's been some tremendous. I mean, I've been very lucky that the lads I've played up front with. So we've had the likes of Phil Hunt, who's a Devon centre forward, Paul Gidley, the prolific Kevin Smith, who I had the pleasure of playing with at Exmouth and at Tiverton Town. Andy Rowlands, England schoolboy international. He was a tremendous player. But for me, the best player that I've ever played up front with, without any question, has been Melvin Pym. Melvin Pym buttered my parsnips. That's how good he was. And he taught me so much over the time that I had down here with him. Without his input, I wouldn't have been the player I was. So.
And obviously, you just touched on that time at Tiverton Town, and that was another great spell of your career.
Yeah, that was like? Yeah. So it came to. I mean, Exmouth had a halcyon time of thing. The halcyon days in the 80s. We won 2 Western League titles, Premiership titles, several Devon St Luke's Cups, brilliant runs in the FA Cup, brilliant run in the FA Vars, and we won the Les Phillips Cup as well up at Barnstable against Saltash. Yeah, they were great times. Unfortunately, all good things do come to an end, and the era of Bob Davis came to an end when he decided to resign and stand down. And unfortunately, we lost most of our players that season. Soon we lost to Cheltenham in the FA Cup. We took them to 3 games in the FA Cup, and then Bob resigned the game after, and most of the players left. I was only one of 3 that did stay at the club. I saw it through. We just avoided relegation, but I knew then I couldn't stay at Exmouth because I wanted to win things. And I knew we didn't have a good enough team to win things. So I got the phone call from Martin Rogers. It was Martin Rogers' first signing at Tiverton Town, and that season was brilliant for me. We won the Devon St Luke's well with a goal from me in the final, and also got to the first round properly FA Cup. It was my goal that put us into that first round properly FA Cup on Match of the Day. Great memories and a great day. And Bingley, Andrew Bradford, who's one of the volunteers here, he came to watch that game because he was living near Barnet at the time. It was a great day, even though they beat us 5-0. And they at the time were top of the league too. We were the lowest ranking team left in the FA Cup, but just to play in the first round proper for me was tremendous. So yeah, that's a very proud moment for me.
And you're still around at the club today at Exmouth?
Yeah. So I've been watching now for about 4 seasons now, and I've the chairman got hold of me and asked me if I could take over as the club ambassador, which I've done for a couple of seasons now, and recently been appointed as a commercial manager as well. So that's another new challenge I'm looking forward to. So. Yeah, just the 2 roles at the moment. We'll see what else lies ahead at whatever time. So.
And on the pitch, a much better season this year.
Much better season. I remember speaking to Roy when we went to Malvern last season, and we'd had so much bad luck conceding goals in injury time, missing penalties, and we lost 3-0 up there. And I said to Roy, we're going down. But I'm a great one for putting the kiss of death on things, because the following week, I think it was either the week after or 2 weeks after, we went on this tremendous run, which got us out of the problems that we were in. Obviously, there was a bit more money put in for the budget. Dave Pearce came in. Yeah, he's obviously had a decent input and managed to turn things around and avoided relegation with 3 games of the season to go. However, I was most disappointed with our final game of the season against Bolton Rovers with a massive crowd down here. I think it was a bank holiday, and we were inept that day. I was embarrassed to be a town supporter that day because we were that bad. But this season has been tremendous. If we could improve our home form, that would be good, because I think currently on home form we're 16th in the league, away form we're top of the table. But if you'd have said to me start of the season you'd be second in turning into the new year, I'd have bitten your arm off. I mean, it's great, and it's great for the club. If we could just start to win a few more home games, who knows what might happen at the end of the season. I'm not saying we're going to get promoted, but we're in a very good position now to put ourselves in that position. So let's see what happens. I must say though, I can see him in the core in the eye. I mean, Frankie Phillips this season, I mean, absolutely tremendous. I mean, we gave him a bit of stick at Bolton Rovers last season, me and Bingley, but he's been absolutely fantastic for us, and I think he's had 14, 15 clean sheets. He's already a player of the season in my eyes. Give it to him now. Brilliant.
Well, thank you,
Really
thank
good.
you, and thank you for what you do for the club now. Thank you for your past contributions as well. Brilliant.
Okay, we're back. That was Len and Nathan's interview. Len is a legend. If you are new to the club, go search Len out, chat to him, as all of the volunteers. Len is just one of the people we've spoken to this time. There is going to be an article coming out. I'm going to write about all the volunteers and stuff. So thank you to all you guys as well. I know we often always say this, but thank you, especially over Christmas. We've had a lot of games as well, and it's been quite hectic with a lot of big crowds as well. I think we had 500 for
500 bang on against Bideford, yeah.
Bideford, and then it was like 350, 400, I think, wasn't it, for Evesham? So
it was a good crowd again. Evesham.
Yeah, good crowd. And we've had and then yesterday obviously was appalling weather. So thank you to all the guys at the club as well, the volunteers, Martin, Joe, Elaine, all the guys in the tea hut. There's so many people that I genuinely can't remember with you. So thank you to all of you guys. I just ponce around with the camera, and that's about it, really. Coming up, fixtures wise, we have Tavistock on Saturday at home. Tavi will arrive. They are fighting for their lives. This is not going to be an easy game, nor that any game against Tavistock's ever easy. So come down, support the lads, cheer them on to victory. We then have Cinderford, which is the rearranged game because it was called off because of climate change. I can't remember what climate change was going on for that one because we've had a couple of games called off. That is on Wednesday the 15th. I'm assuming it's a 7:45 kickoff. It'll be on the socials. Come down to support the lads again because Cinderford are also down there fighting for their lives. These games are going to be more tricky than it is going up against teams that are in the playoffs and around us. We then have Willand away. We got a draw against Willand at home. Don't let anybody tell you any different. That is on the 18th. There is a bus running.
Yes.
Contact Sam or the club or message on the Muff Town. There was a tannery announcement, and there probably will be announcements as well at the home games for them. I don't know the price for it. I think it was £10. Contact Sam or someone on the MTC page or us at the club, and we'll forward you to the correct place.
Yeah.
There is a bus going, not very far, half hour, 40 minutes. So go support the lads in that one. Willand are a really nice club, really friendly. We then have the long old trip to Mousehole away on the 25th. There is a bus running for that one. Can't remember any details for that. Nathan, have you got the details for that? Again, just Sam, and they'll be posting stuff up for
that. Yeah, it'll be on the MTC, and it'll be available. You know, it's there. I know that, and again, we'll direct you in the right place if you need that, and if we're ready for that. If you can't make the Mousehole game, we will be doing the live commentary for that one. Unfortunately, I'm not at the Willing game, so I won't be doing it for that. But we'll be at the Mousehole game, so we'll get that going. Hopefully, it's not raining, so then it won't. My laptop won't die out of nowhere like it did at Helston. But you know, thank you for all the support with that as well, and you know, very grateful to be able to do it for you guys. So thank you for that. And we've had some really good numbers in terms of people listening as well, so it's been really good, and I appreciate it a lot. But we will be back for that Mousehole game.
Then after that, we have Didcot at home on February the 1st, Shaftesbury away on February the 8th, and we also have the Bemerton game at some point to be penciled in. That hasn't been finalised yet. Probably a bit of a track for Bemerton as well, a bit like Cinderford. So I'm assuming they're probably trying to work fixtures and stuff out for that. Once we've got a date for that, we should let you guys know. That'll be all on the socials, MTC, and we'll plaster that everywhere. So there's a lot of games coming up. Memberships are still on sale now. If you kind of want to treat yourself after Christmas, if you've got a Christmas bonus, if you've got some money left over from Christmas, if someone gave you lots of money for Christmas, you don't know what to spend it on, membership's still available. You could literally come and watch history being made this season.
going to be the highest ever finish. May as well lock in now
Yeah,
while it's coming up while we're scaling.
yeah.
May as well lock in now.
Joined the MTC as well. My little one won the monthly draw. Muggins here pays her money, and she won the draw. So I think that's everything. 2025. What are we expecting in 2025?
More the same, isn't it,
Well,
for this season?
I will only settle for a minimum of world domination.
I think it more of the same, more of the same for 2025. We're flying. Long may it continue, and we get hopefully we can keep leveling up in terms of our output, keep leveling up in terms of how we're playing football, and yeah, it's all looking good. It's much nicer to go into a year instead of saying guys, just stick with us, please, we win eventually, to saying this it's all very good at the moment, so we can't complain. We just want more of the same.
Yeah, at some point, everything in football and everything in sport is circular. At some point, we will have a downward,
Yeah.
not spiral, but we will have a downward period. That's unfortunately that's football, that's life, that's how things work. But it's how you pick yourself up and go again. Hopefully, we're on that going up at the minute, and I think we are as a club. Rome wasn't built in a day. The mantra I keep saying to myself over and over again. So the club is moving forward. The team is moving forward. Dave and Hilly are working incredibly hard. This morning I logged into the VEO at like 10, 11 o'clock, and someone had already been in and had added bits to it and changed stuff. So that's got to be either Hilly or Dave. So they're up watching the game footage from 24 hours ago, first thing on a Sunday morning, and I'm assuming the lads probably would have had info fed back to them already on that, just to show that it is that they are working, 24/7 basically, and the lads are working their tails off as well, as is everybody else at the club. So I think that's 2025 is a year of the unknown, but bring it on. We've got nothing to lose. We're probably not. We're not going to get relegated. I've not done the maths, but I don't think we're going to get relegated.
Right.
We could be promoted, and I don't know if there's enough lager, cider, and Guinness in East Devon for that party if that was to happen. And also, if the bus driver doesn't turn up, Kevin obviously just does any job he's given, so he can drive the bus for us if we're up mode. On that note, there's two people as well we've got to thank. Thrifty, I always forget to thank you at the beginning of the episodes. Thank you so much for sponsoring me, Nate, the VEO, and everything you've done for us as a media team and the club. And to Gary as well. Gary wasn't there yesterday. He's got a bad eye. He's cut his eye. Gary does all of the photography for the club. Now he's there every week, basically.
Yeah.
All the images you see on the graphics, on the socials, and Jerry, or Gary and Jerry. Thank you to both those guys for doing that. And especially Jerry yesterday sitting out in the torrential rain, and Gary is also sat in the rain as well while I've gone and hidden away. So thank you to both those guys for doing that. All those images are there, so if you tag them, if you use them, please do credit them, or you can buy their images as well. So go support those guys because it's their job. It's what they do, it's their passion. I think that's everything. I don't think there's anybody else we need to thank. No one else we need to bring up, is there?
No, that's it. So yeah, keep eyes on the socials always. Say hopefully we'll have some good news for you. Even if it's just reporting on a win next Saturday, there'll be some good news on there eventually. So there's always good news on there, but some more coming. And then ETFC Live, make sure you're locked in on there because the commentaries will be coming from the 25th pretty much from Mousel. Hopefully, I think every single away game for the rest of the season. Unfortunately, we don't do home games. So I've had a couple people ask, don't do home games because the signal's not very good at the ground and it's not worth the hassle of saying there's going to be live commentary and then you happen to realise within 10 minutes that it's not going to happen. So
you can get commentary at home games. It is incredibly HD and incredibly live. You actually have to go stand next to Nathan to get the signal. So if you want commentary for home games, go find Nathan at home games, stand next to him, and he'll do it for you there.
Yeah.
I'll even give him a microphone. No,
that's it. And you best pay me if you want that.
But I can't be trusted to do commentary. In all seriousness, though, please do listen to his commentary because it is amazing. I'm not just saying this because he's my mate. It is really good and has been commented on by a lot of other clubs. Also, please could you like, subscribe the channel. The more people that like and subscribe this, the more people find out about the club, and it's good for our analytics. We wouldn't normally ask, but just this once, it's free. Just hit the little subscribe button and just hit like on this, because it does help really nerdy analytics things I'm not going to go into because they're really boring, but it does help me, Nathan. It does help the club, and it doesn't cost a thing. So please just do that for us on this one occasion. That's everything. We've gone on long enough. We're losing our voices, which could pose an issue for Nath when he's
20 days to recover. We'll hopefully be all right.
Yeah. He hasn't been on holiday yet in 2025, so at some point he will have a holiday at 2025 because
away.
Yeah, because he hasn't been away yet. Yeah, that's everything. May the good times keep continuing. We'll see you all soon. Remember, buy memberships, like, subscribe, turn up to the club, support the lads, up the town.
Yeah.